Lumber River State Park is in the southern part of North Carolina. The southern end of this park is not too far away from South Carolina, but the park itself and the Lumber River stretches 50 miles between the northernmost access point and the southernmost access point. In between, obviously not the whole riverbank is a state park, but it is 50 miles apart, so the two access points are quite far. In the Princess Anne access, which is on the southern end, there is a nice picnic area, a couple of short trails that are actually very nice, and a boat launch, and you can see the river pretty nicely from that particular access point. On the northern side, have the Chalk Bank access point, and in both places they have campsites and boat launch on this side as well, and a couple of trails, which are really nothing to write home about. In between the two locations, though, there are a bunch of canoe-in campsites. So to really enjoy this park, you really have to have your canoe or boat or something that you can run on the river. Maybe go camping at one of those canoeing campsites. And I mean, that's the way to enjoy this park. We don't have a boat, and it doesn't appear that there is a place near here that you can rent one. So we did not go on the river. Instead, we took these hiking trails. Heading down towards the river at the Princess Anne access area, right on the Lumber River. That river looks very nice. Doesn't look dirty at all. You got a couple of folks here launching their boat and pulling it back up, fishing. Here's a nice platform that they built so that we can take a look at the scenic point. It's called Griffin's Whirl. And I think this is where the river flows backwards. Let's check it out. Sure enough, you see the river flowing that way? That's the normal flow of the river that goes downstream. But if you turn around and look up here, there's a little bit of a disturbance here, and the river actually flows uphill here for a little bit, or the other direction anyway. This is called Griffin's Whirl. You know what this scenery and the river reminds me of? Jungle Cruise. Yeah. Of course the trees are all wrong, but I'm just half expecting the Jungle Cruise boat to come around the bend at any moment now. The water looks dark, but it looks fairly clear. You see that little whirl right there? You can sort of see it. Mm-hmm. In many places in this part of the park, there are these beautiful benches that are overlooking the river at various places. And this is an example of one of them. And just kind of sit here and relax and enjoy. And there must have been a mill here at one point, because it's called the Mill Hole Trail, and there's an exhibit of a couple of millstones here. Notice the moss here on the trail, on top of some sandy soil. So the moss must indicate that this is a pretty wet spot, normally. And we're in very much a shade area next to the river, so the moss just kind of tells you that it's moist. The walk in the woods is actually very pleasant. You can hear the birds. The birds are really singing today. Even though the river is the main attraction here, there appears to be very difficult to rent a boat, a canoe, or anything like that. The park itself does not offer it, and I looked around on the internet and could not find any canoe rental places nearby. I don't know if it's because it's kind of off season, we're in April, or because we're in the pandemic year and then there are basically nobody renting canoes during the pandemic. Not sure which one, but Either you got to bring your own boat or you can't really go on the river. Since we don't have a boat, we can't go on the river. And of course, Loretta is happy that we don't have a boat.
Yeah.
She doesn't know how to swim, so it's very nerve-wracking for her to be on any kind of a boat. We did manage to rent a canoe when we went to New River State Park, and she had her life jacket on all the time, like really holding onto it tight, until the very end when she realized that at no time were we more than 3 feet deep in the water.
Yeah. Oh, that was funny, wasn't it?
And the way she discovered that is, towards the end of the trip, you had people with waders on, doing fly fishing, just standing there. He says, "You mean it's only like that deep?" I said, "Yeah, it's been that way all through." So why did I wear a life jacket? He says, "Well, I don't know. I wasn't going to tell you not to wear it."
Yeah.
So.
But it was an enjoyable trip down the river.
Yeah, if we could have rented a canoe, we probably would have done that on the Lumber River as well.
No, I don't think so. This one looks deep. And it's dark.
I do think that Loretta was traumatized when we went to Biscayne National Park, when we landed at Adams Key, and we got a kayak, a 2-person kayak. And we launched, and of course at Biscayne National Park, it's out in the open sea, and it got mangroves all along the sides that look kind of scary, at least to her. And she keeps somehow another paddle right towards the mangroves. And I keep paddling away, and she keeps paddling towards it. I don't know why. But between that and the strong wind and the current, I think that set her back a little bit. Yes?
Yes. That's absolutely true.
This is a trail at the Lumber River State Park Chalk Bank Access. I don't even know what the name of this trail is. Does this trail have a name?
Trail with the blue diamond.
It's a blue diamond trail. Let's just call it that. You can see the river or the water with the classic trees growing out of it in this part of the state. Well, it's perfectly clear that the focal point for Lumber River State Park is the river, because even though there's a couple of trails, we're at the Chalk Bank area. And I hate to say this, but this trail that we're on is probably one of the ugliest ones we've been to in any of the state parks. The trees are scrawny looking. There's no majestic anything. You have this water here that's kind of interesting, but this is just, it's not.
That is stagnant water. That's mosquito-induced water. Stagnant water, mosquito habitat.
Egg larva habitat.
Yeah. And the interesting thing about this path is that they made it just so that they can have a hiking path, because it just skirts the road, the main road, then it goes back onto the main road, then it gets back in a little bit, goes out, and it comes back in a little bit, and that's it.
It's basically between the road and the swamp here.
Yeah.
Okay? And it's just, it's very rooty. It's not, it just, you get these little scrawny brushes, and sorry, I call it as it is. There's some paths in the state parks that are beautiful. Many of them are walking among very tall pines, nice and quiet, but this one is just ain't it. Well, the trail on the other side of the road is pretty bad. That's why I dissed it before. But the trail on this side is actually pretty nice. You see the tall pines and the nice flat moss-covered trail here. So this is more on par with what we usually find in the North Carolina State Park trails. And because we're away from the swamp, it feels less buggy too. Remember what I said about this side of the road, the trail looks good? Well, we had to walk through what was recently plowed road. It's almost like walking in sand. And the trail marking was actually pretty bad. So hopefully we're not lost. But no, I would not recommend this trail at all. Sorry. I take back everything I said that was nice about this side of the road. So if you have a boat, you can go up and down the river and enjoy yourself. The river is pretty calm, and you can go camping right off the river. But if you don't have a boat, maybe you can spend an hour or two at each of the access points. And that's really about it. We are on our way to visit all the national parks in the United States. Follow along by hitting the subscribe button below. Hit the notification bell so you know when a new video is released. Give it a thumbs up if you like this video, and please share it with everybody that you know.